Oh, in terms of the truth, I mean, it's something quite personal that, the band know, management know, and I know. In terms of anorexia, I was never severely underweight. I mean, there's a song on the album called 4 stone 7 pounds. I was never 4 stone 7 pounds, The skinniest I've ever got is 6 stone, just under 6 stone. In terms of alcohol abuse and drug abuse, yeah. I mean, I'd been going on for a long time, but that stopped, thankfully. And other various things as well, which at the time I didn't regard as a problem, but I guess to a point where your body physically can't take any more, whereas mentally you maybe think you're strong enough to cope. Everybody's got a different code of living, a different set of ethics. I'm a very unviolent person. I've never hit anybody in my life, but I am prone to extreme violent outbursts. But that's against myself because I make things difficult for myself. I would never impose my standards upon anybody else. So if something goes wrong, I'm not going to smash up a hotel room. I'm not going to smash up a bed. I'm not going to smash up a dressing room. I'm not going to abuse somebody else. I've never raised my voice with anybody. That doesn't mean I don't get fits of temper or whatever. I just don't think I've morally got the right to take up my frustration on another human being,
But you hurt yourself all the time, not only abuse of drugs and alcohol, but you cut yourself. I mean, that's one of the things I can't understand at all. Do you have any explanation for that?
I think it's quite common. It's on the increase. It's all about self-discipline. Like self-obsession is connected completely with self-loathing. And it's the same with, if you've got a weight problem, it's all about finding some worth in yourself, knowing that you've got the discipline to do it, and knowing that other people maybe can't do it. And it's also, I think, really connected to the fact that you almost feel like silent, you have no voice, you mute, there's just you've got no option. And that even if you could express yourself, nobody would listen anyway. And things that go on inside you, there's no other way to get rid of them. I mean, I've been in clinics where there's been lots of people who've cut themselves and abused themselves, physically and violently. And it's pretty common, it's cliched amongst people who do it, that when they do it, they don't actually feel any pain, even when you may be having stitches in your body and things have been, done to you. It doesn't matter, you're in a frame of mind where it really does not hurt. Maybe a few days later you get a certain amount of pain as the skin starts to heal. But when you're in that frame of mind, it's like really natural. It's like the only logical thing to do. Otherwise, you feel you could almost do something to another person, and that is something that I would, again, like I said, I would never ever take it out on somebody else. Maybe what things I do is more concerned with the fact I don't let myself very much. And so I would not expect anybody else to judge me that highly, So if I discipline myself, if I can feel relatively content with my mental state and my physical state, if I can balance those two, then I feel okay, and I'm not really worried what people think about me, because I judge myself harsher and on more strict terms than they ever could, probably, I think.
But why are you hard on yourself?
I've always felt the need to prove myself against other people. I mean, I'm quite a weak person physically, and I think in school, I wouldn't say I was bullied, but you do feel scared sometimes or frightened, and the only thing I thought I had that was different from other people was the fact that I was actually, quite intelligent. I like reading and passing exams or whatever. But even say things like A-levels, and I got straight A's, but say somebody else got straight A's, I would not feel as good as them because I didn't know what percentages we had. I wanted to know that I had 98% and they had 95%. It wasn't enough, I felt next to somebody with the same qualifications as me, I would not feel as good because, you know, an A, what does an A stand for? You know, you don't really know what it means. So you're constantly trying to get better and improve all the time. That's why I was so disappointed with myself when I started drinking, because I didn't drink till I was at university. I didn't use drugs until I graduated. Whereas everybody was doing it in school, and I didn't have the need for it because I didn't want to like interrupt my mind, you know, but got to a point where I could not sleep, and people said, you know, if you have a few drinks, you'll help you get to sleep, which it did. You know, alcohol for me was always very functional, drugs for me were always very functional. You know, obviously it escalates, you know, your tolerance increases, and you know the story.
You're on the road now with the band, and I imagine if you do have a potential drink or drugs problem, it's the hardest place to be. How do you cope now?
No, like I said, that's easy. I know what happens if I drink. I know what happens if I use. It's something that I don't want to go back to. The last thing I want is to end up like somebody like Shane MacGowan, you know. I've seen him around. I think he was a fantastic lyricist when he started off. And I hate the kind of grudging respect people give him now, you know. When I see Shane on stage, sometimes when he can't even sing anymore and he's falling over, and they talk about the genius of the man, and I find that very, very patronising. It's just like watching somebody die very slowly, and that upsets me because I think he was like, you know, a godlike lyricist, and I don't think that's there anymore really. And I don't find that enjoyable, and I don't find the thought of being like that myself very enjoyable.
The Holy Bible.
I find that again extraordinary, that the chorus, he's a boy, you want to go, so tear off his cock, tie his hair in bunches, fucking call him Rita if you want. Where's it coming from?
Well, in terms of actually ever doing that, I've never actually ripped off somebody's cock.
No, but I mean just the idea. I mean, I assumed at first that it must be intensely personal.
Yeah, I think it is quite personal. They just, I mean, it's not like, yes, it's about self-image, and it's about feeling used. Like, when I lost my virginity, it was a definite act that I was 21, everybody for years and years, you know, been fucking around me, saying how brilliant it was, and I felt, you know, like, oh, no, all right, I'm not happy, maybe there is this glorious event that's going to change your life, and so I just deliberately went out, sat in a pub, drank until somebody came up and said, do you want to come back to my house? And I went back, and in fact, it was very clinical, and the next day I felt, you know, really bad, you know, I didn't like it, and that kind of shaped my perspective on things.
But something that's puzzling me is that you come across as being very shy and introverted, so how can you get on a stage in front of thousands of people?
Well, that's one of the reasons I started drinking.